Hello everyone, Ollie here from 𝙬𝕗𝕠, and today I'm going to be ranking all 6, currently, SpongeBob SquarePants movies or films, however you want to put it. Yeah, so if you haven't been up to speed with the channel, I mean obviously if you're new here, hello, welcome. But also if you're a returning subscriber watching and you haven't been up to speed with what's been going on the channel, 2 days ago, me and 𝑘𝙗𝙗 went to go watch the latest SpongeBob film, Search for SquarePants. I was about to say Sponge on the Run then, Jesus Christ. But yeah, Search for SquarePants, the 4th SpongeBob main film, if you want to call it that, because there's 2 Netflix spin-offs, which I've watched for the first time, leading up to this latest film, so that I could do this ranking. So, yeah, so there's 4 main SpongeBob films, 2 spin-off films, the Plankton film and also the Sandy Cheeks film. So I'm including them in this list. If you don't want me to, well, tough shit. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't want me to, because, you know, they are technically part of the SpongeBob canon, right? Not canon, but the SpongeBob continuity, I guess. So, you know, add more to the list. Why not? I guess it makes it more fun, I guess. And I do have some things to say. I definitely have some things to say about one, but we'll get to that. But, yeah, before I do rank the films, I do want to quickly give my history on SpongeBob, because if you haven't seen the review for the review that me and 𝑘𝙗𝙗 did for Search for SquarePants 2 days ago, well, first of all, I'll leave a link in the description below to that video, so if you want to hear our thoughts on that out of the cinema. But I did, me and 𝑘𝙗𝙗 did, we gave our kind of briefish history on SpongeBob. I'm going to do a little bit more history diving into it, but I did speak about it on that if you've not watched it. But SpongeBob, for me, was a big pinnacle part of my childhood. I loved watching the show, particularly the earlier seasons, which a lot of people, a lot of fans of SpongeBob prefer. And, well, for reasons, you know, being that, you know, SpongeBob over time has gone down in quality. Some may disagree, but I personally think it has. But anyway, and also I also loved growing up with the first film. You know, I think the first 3 seasons and the first film is what a lot of people just mainly focus on, and not focus on the rest of the show that's come out, and also the other films that have been released since then. So, and I pretty much do agree with that. I mean, I'll get to my thoughts on the films, but obviously I'm not going to talk about the show really, because obviously this is a ranking of the films, all 6 films. So, but yeah, I love the early seasons of SpongeBob. I have a bit of a nostalgic-y kind of thing for the middle-ish seasons. I haven't seen every single season of SpongeBob on the show. Yeah, I grew up and I matured, so I grew up with other bits and bobs, but bobs. Yeah, I think there's like 16, 7 seasons of the show. I'm not joking. Like, it's fucking crazy. But I think I got to like season 8 or 9 maybe, and then obviously stopped there. I did kind of notice a little bit when I was younger that it was kind of a bit different to the earlier ones. Like I mean not as much now, because obviously I noticed a lot of things growing up, maturing, and, you know, becoming a film student and all that, kind of noticing differences between quality and what's good and what's not great. So yeah, when I was younger, as long as it was SpongeBob, then I was happy mainly. So it just got to a certain point when I stopped, and, you know, because I was growing up, liking other different things. So, but yeah, I had basically everything SpongeBob related. Like, I had a duvet cover, pillows, a bin, a trash bin if you're American, I guess. I had all sorts. I had a bin. I had like a washing basket. I had duvets, pillow, like basically anything you could think of merchandise wise. I also had loads of posters in my bedroom. Not this bedroom. This is, yeah, my old house that I was in before this. I had like SpongeBob posters all around my room. I can even picture some of them, but yeah, it was just galore of SpongeBob. And yeah, I mean, obviously since then I've, you know, got into other things, but I still like SpongeBob. Mainly the earlier stuff, because that's the stuff that I grew up with. But anyway, I'm trying to say I love SpongeBob, and I, you know, grew up watching it at a very early age. I couldn't tell you starting from what age, but the show had come out, you know, before I was born, so I could have watched it while I was a newborn, for all I know. But I'm pretty sure it's probably like 3, 4, 5 years old, something like that. Maybe when I started watching it, because I think my elder sister and my brother also grew up watching it a little bit as well, but not nearly as much as I did. But anyway, I love SpongeBob basically. So that's just to kind of set up what's to expect. So yeah, I think we're just gonna head straight into it. Yeah, so I'm gonna start off with number 6. So starting at number 6, my least favourite SpongeBob film, and this was pretty easy once I'd watched it. I was like, okay, how can this get any worse than what the next ones I'll be watching? And that is going to be Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie. This is the first spin-off Netflix film, which released last year in August, because I'm recording December 2025, so it came out last August. And yeah, it was absolute pants. The animation was pretty much abysmal. Like, I think a lot of it really resembled like early video games, especially like when I think of, because I played like SpongeBob Truth or Square, the video game, which I played on the Wii, and it kind of looked like that, but that's kind of an insult to that game, because obviously when it came out, it was like, what, 2007 or something like that, and this came out in 2024, and it looks horrific. Like, it's so bad. Looks like video game cutscenes from a SpongeBob game, but it isn't. So, and I have no idea what the budget is. I don't think they've disclosed the budget, because it's Netflix, and, you know, they hide this kind of shit. So that kind of says something, really, doesn't it? Because I think the third SpongeBob film, which I'll also be talking about soon, Sponge on the Run, I think that had like a 80, something like that. I might have to go double check in a second, but basically the Netflix films Netflix hasn't disclosed the 2 spin-off films of their budget, basically. So, you know, I don't know if that's kind of a red flag. Take it for what you will, I guess, but I kind of see it as that way. But anyway, but my point is, the animation's terrible, the characters, their utilization is terrible, the storyline I just think is, I don't like it at all. Like, I just don't like. I mean, on paper, the whole thing with Sandy going back to Texas and us seeing her family, you know, that's a good. It sounds like a good idea for a film, but the execution is where it all comes in, and it's terrible. I don't like her family. I think they're really annoying, corn-fed bastards, in my opinion. I just find them really irritating. But I would say the most annoying character in the film is the main man himself, SpongeBob. I think they portrayed him awful in this film. Like, he's 4 times as annoying as he is in the show, which says something. I mean, I love SpongeBob. Yes, he is annoying in the show, but he's bearably annoying, whereas in this, he is just unbearable. The jokes that he comes out of, like, all these pop culture references and all these just, oh god, awful stuff. Like, I remember one near the beginning, something to do with him catching up with his, like, on-demand shows or something like that. I don't know, it was just an awful joke. But yeah, I just think the animation's terrible, the story's terrible, the characters aren't nearly as good as they are in the films, or even the other films that I put near the bottom. This is just representing the characters in this was just awful. Like Sandy, I mean, Sandy as a character is interesting. Like, I kind of like Sandy, kind of don't, because she's a little bit irritating at times, but she's quite annoying in this. But to be fair, it's all down to the writing and her dialogue. I know I'm talking like I know I feel like I'm talking like this, like it's a fucking, you know, Martin Scorsese film or whatever. But it's at the end of the day, it's still a fucking film. Yes, it's for kids, but kids should have the same quality as something like a Martin Scorsese film, or something that is genuinely well regarded, you know. So in my opinion, this is my least favourite SpongeBob film, and I think a lot of people would put this at the bottom as well. I had a hard time sort of thinking of what could be at the bottom, because my number 5, which I'll be getting to in a second, is also pretty bad as well, which I'll get into reasons why. But yeah, I think the Sandy Cheeks movie, Saving Bikini Bottom, I don't know why the fuck they called it that. Like, the Saving Bikini Bottom, just call it the Sandy Cheeks movie. I don't know why. Anyway, I'm going to move on because I don't want to talk about this film anymore. This is the only film in this ranking I will say, don't waste your fucking time. Watch any of the other ones, even the one I'm about to be talking about, because you might find some fun out of it at least, whereas this was just groan-inducing and just not worth your time. So, yes, so Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie, is my number 6. Okay, so coming in at my number 5 is going to be the SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run, which is the 3rd main SpongeBob film that was supposed to get a wide theatrical release back in May of 2020, but because of the COVID pandemic, they decided to move it and dump it on Paramount Plus when Paramount, released their streaming service around quarantine time, I think. Which, I think it had a limited theatrical release in Canada, I think, or maybe even America as well, but it didn't get a fucking theatrical release in the UK, I know that for sure. But I'm kind of glad since watching it, because I think this is awful. Like, okay, the only thing that I can really commend this film is the animation. Like, I was very reluctant with the animation, because it's not SpongeBob to me. Like, even the second film, which we'll talk about again soon, like the last half predominantly was 3D CG animation, and it's just a bit jarring. Like, when you're so used to the traditional 2D SpongeBob animation from the show and the first film, it's quite jarring to look at. This film's 3D CG animation is more defined, like the detail and everything, which, I mean, on paper it is a beautiful looking film, but apart from the way it looks, just, again, the character utilizations, the jokes, kind of the stories, okay-ish. Like, I mean, the story is kind of just literally taking the Have You Seen the Snail episode, I think it's from season 4, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty sure it's from season 4, where SpongeBob and Patrick try and find Gary, because he obviously got lost, and obviously found out that, spoiler alert, that I think it was like an old lady took him, I think. Well, obviously in this one it's different. Like, I think it's like the king of Atlantic City has taken him, because apparently, the story's a bit weird, but basically the king of Atlantic City, I forgot his fucking name, but apparently he's like getting wrinkles, and he hates them, and to basically get rid of his wrinkles, he uses the kind of slime of the snail to remove them, and at which point, when we first see him, we find out that all the snails that he used have no more slime, so they basically run out of snails to basically, remove his wrinkles. So basically, Plankton finds this out because of the flies around Bikini Bottom come around, and apparently he says, "Oh, I know who has a snail. SpongeBob does." So he contacts the king of Atlantic City, and they basically steal Gary and SpongeBob and Patrick and that fucking robot played by Awkwafina, basically Plankton's assistant robot. I know you're thinking, wait, Karen? No, not Karen. This little robot that they fucking have. Okay, I've forgotten the name of it, I'll put it in the edit. But yeah, Awkwafina I don't find really funny at all. Like, I don't find her amusing whenever I see her in a film. Like Kung Fu Panda 4, which was an utter disappointment for me. She was one of the things I didn't like in the film. Like, I don't like how she was the one that took over the Dragon Warrior thing. Like, I'm not going to get into that because it's not Kung Fu, but I'm just saying, Awkwafina, pretty much everything she's been in that I've seen, I do not like. Nothing against her as a person. I'm sure she's really nice, but her characters that she plays in the films that I've seen her in are just unlikable to me. Like, I find her quite annoying, but that's just me. Yeah, she was quite annoying in the film because, she was the one that drove the boat for, Patrick and SpongeBob and Patrick to go to Atlantic City. And then you have Keanu Reeves as, I think it's Sage, I think. The fucking, yeah, like, Honestly, one of the things I'm hating about these later SpongeBob films is how reliant they are on big movie stars. Like, you don't need these massive stars in these films. Like, obviously in the new one, they brought in Mark Hamill to replace the original person who voiced the Flying Dutchman. I mean, I'll talk about it more when I get to that film. But I'm just saying that Nickelodeon, or whoever's decision it is, Paramount, Nickelodeon, whoever's decision it is to replace the original actors or put in these new characters with these popular voice actors and think, oh, that'll do well because they're popular and everyone loves them. I mean, yes, I love Keanu Reeves, but I don't know, I just like, it's just no need for it. Like, like SpongeBob is not about that, you know? It's about, it's great humor, great characters when they're utilized well. The story as well, like, I mean, story, I know it's not like the strongest thing ever, but it's like, it's fun. You're invested in the story, at least I am with most, some of the films anyway, but it's just like the storylines of each episode of the show, the early ones specifically, are engaging and funny and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I don't know, this film just doesn't hold up, in my opinion. Like, I mean, the animation's great. Again, like, I hate the whole Camp Coral thing, because apparently this was kind of a setup to open up the spin-off show Camp Coral, which I've just refused to watch because I just don't like the idea of young SpongeBob meeting up with younger other SpongeBob characters that never happen in the fucking show. Like, young Sandy, like, that's not how they meet. They meet in the fucking 3rd episode of the 1st season. Tea at the Tree Dome, right? Remember that, OG fucking SpongeBob fans? Oh my god. Anyway, I think that's about it, guys. Like, I don't have much else to say about SpongeBob on the Run other than it's a disappointment. Besides the animation, I mean, I got used to the animation partway through the film, but even that doesn't, you know, make the film really that watchable, or rewatchable rather. But yeah, the SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run, is my number 5. Okay, so coming in at my number 4 is Plankton the movie. This is the 2nd Netflix spin-off film, which came out, I think, earlier in March this year, I think. And I was holding out hope with this one because I had watched the Sandy Cheeks film, movie, whatever, and obviously I was appalled by it, and I was like, okay, Netflix, please do Plankton justice. And I heard that Karen is also playing a big part in this, and I'm hoping, because I like their dynamic as husband and wife, I know, but I like their characters in the show because obviously they are, you know, the antagonist, the main antagonist of the show, and, you know, seeing them two together and seeing how they met up and everything sounds like a great idea. And some of it does work. Like, some of the you know, how they met up, you know, I mean, the whole him going to school or college. I went to college!
I went to college!
I don't know if you remember that quote from, I think it's from season 1 probably. I'll put it in the edit, but yeah, yeah, that funny quote from Plankton in the earlier season. But that, whenever I thought of that, oh yeah, he said he went to college, you know. I mean, it's technically school, but you know what I mean. He went to fucking education, you know. So yeah, you know, seeing how they met, you know, that was kind of cute in a way. But you know, it's just, again, execution wise, SpongeBob was quite annoying. Like in, well, not as much in the Sandy Cheeks movie, but well, sorry, not as much, unlike the Sandy Cheeks movie, but yeah, he has his moments where he's still quite annoying. Yeah, he has his moments where it's like, oh yeah, kind of like in the show, but there are times where they go a bit too far with, you know, these dialogue and the way they, again, how they execute him in the film. But, you know, the idea is definitely much better than the Sandy Cheeks movie. But, you know, the animation is still not great. Like, it's the Netflix spin-off film, so it's not going to be as good as, like, a major theatrical film budget-wise. And, again, it just looks like the film was made on, like, a 15 to $20 million budget. I, again, don't know what the budget is for this film, but as well as the Sandy Cheeks one. So, but I think the writers were definitely a significant jump from the Sandy Cheeks one. So, you know, it worked in certain ways, but I still thought, you know, it still wasn't great. But it certainly wasn't awful or absolutely egregious or really offensive to me, because the bottom two were certainly offensive to me, the Sandy Cheeks and Sponge on the Run, but this was, it was passable. It was passable at best. Yeah, I thought the animation could have been a bit better. Like, I didn't like how everyone looked too smooth or clayey, you know, like it looked like a claymation, which sounds very, you know, targeting towards claymation artists, which is not. I absolutely love. I absolutely love when studios make stop motion films, because I think stop motion is absolutely the best way of making animated films, like the Aardman films, for example, the Aardman guys, or the Leica, who the guys who did the Coraline film, and obviously 𝘾𝕝𝕁 and the 7 strings, 9 strings, whatever it is, 𝘾𝕝𝕁. Those films I absolutely love, because the artists and the people behind it are so creative with it. But obviously this isn't it, this is CGI, so, and it just looks really strange, like with the Sandy Cheeks one. But again, story wise, it was okay, it was passable. Would I watch it again? I wouldn't choose to, but if someone said to me, let's watch the Plankton movie, I'd be like, okay, sure, I'll watch it. I mean, this is the one that I would, the bottom two I would not watch ever again. Plankton upwards I would watch again, but I wouldn't choose to watch this Plankton one if I like, oh yeah, I'll watch this one, I'll watch the Plankton movie. But if somebody asked me, which no one would, but let's say someone did, let's say, oh, let's watch the Plankton movie, I'd be like, okay, fine, I'll watch it, but I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, the Plankton movie, certainly not terrible, passable at best, I would say, but yeah, definitely not one of the best. So yeah, I like that Karen's personalities are split into 3 different bits, or 4 rather, sorry. There's the heart one, there's the smart one, intellectual one. There's 4. I've forgotten the names of them. There were 4 different ones. There was like love, compassion. There was the smart one. There was like I can't remember what they were called now, but it was really clever with that. I quite like that. And then they obviously separated into each different mechanical bits, and I thought that was quite cool. But yeah, you know, some of the jokes were a bit the jokes were hit and miss to me, but you know, that's really it, guys. So yeah, Plankton the movie is my number 4. Okay, now we've reached the top 3. So my number 3 is going to be the SpongeBob movie, Search for SquarePants, the new one. Yeah, I was coming into this with really morbid curiosity, because I'd watched the 2 trailers that I saw, the teaser trailer and the official trailer, I think, and there were maybe like 1 or 2 things that I found funny, like the shit a brick joke.
The Flying Dutchman? The most pants-wettingly scariest ghost to ever roam the high seas? Oh, my lucky brick.
And I can't remember the other one now. Yeah, I just remember there were like either 1 or 2 jokes that were in the trailers that I actually found actually quite decent. And everything else was bot jokes, and you know, I'm just like, oh god, alright, I'm gonna hold out hope. So I took Nerdy with me, because, you know, I knew he grew up with SpongeBob, and he was also aware of the decline in quality of the show, and also obviously, you know, each film going on. Yeah, we came out, and we were, well, I was surprised but not surprised. Like, there were things that I did, like, I was very 50-50 on it. I gave it a 5 out of 10, 2.5 star, so slap bang in the middle. Things I did like, some I didn't like, you know, like, I mean, the animation's great, just as good as I would say is Sponge on the Run, but I do think it's a better film than Sponge on the Run. I like the Flying Dutchman. I think Mark Hamill does quite a solid job for the voice acting. When they get to the real world, you'll find that, I mean, something I forgot to say in the Sandy Cheeks one, but I just don't like it when these characters go to the real world. Like, I just, you know, meh. I mean, there is one little bit in one of these films in the real world that I don't mind too much, because I kind of grew up on it, so, you know. But it was very limited with its live action, which we'll get to. But with this one, I just didn't like it, which was, I think it was basically the 3rd act, maybe just, you know, just over the 3rd act, when, you know, we see that the Flying Dutchman gets his real body back, because that's kind of the whole purpose of the film, is that the Flying Dutchman is trying to find someone with a sensitive and kind soul or whatever. And obviously SpongeBob is the one to do that, and Patrick, I guess, but mainly SpongeBob because, you know, Flying Dutchman is quite annoyed with Patrick being in the picture because Patrick keeps distracting SpongeBob and, you know, doing childish shit, and he's trying to prove himself to be a great swashbuckler. And yeah, along the way he kept going from trying to be a good one to, you know, being the goofy sponge that he is, and the Flying Dutchman is just really annoyed by that. So, but by the end he does get his soul back, and, you know, gets his human form back, and I'm like, I just didn't really like that bit. Again, I don't like it when they go back into the real world, but, you know, it is what it is. But I like the premise of it, the whole thing with the Flying Dutchman wanting his soul back, and therefore he needs to find someone that is proved worthy of it. I like that, but I don't know, it's just mainly the jokes were very hit and miss. Well, most of them were misses, some of them kind of worked for me. Again, the shit a brick joke thing, but obviously I saw the trailer, so I kind of knew it was coming, but I still kind of chuckled at it. But, you know, most of them I just thought were really bland and just cliched and stuff, so I just, you know, kind of rolled my eyes a little bit, and some of them were just kind of very very adult jokes, like spanking each other with tentacles and shit.
What is happening?
Like, I'm like, God's sake. Like, I just remember looking at NerdTube and we were just like, fuck. We kind of chuckled a bit, but, you know. But anyway, yeah, Search for SquarePants, while it wasn't the worst at all. I mean, again, it's in my top 3, but to be fair, that's not really saying that much because the other ones were kind of either meh or terrible. So, you know, it didn't really have much competition to being in this spot, but it was mid. I would say it's mid. It was kind of, again, it's mid, so it's 5 out of 10. There are things I certainly liked, some things I really didn't like. But yeah, it's in that kind of middle area territory, even though it's in my 3rd place, but, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I don't think there's much else to say, guys, really, on that. But yeah, if you want to hear more of my thoughts on Search for SquarePants, if you want to know my immediate thoughts on that, again, link will be in the description below to the video that I did with NerdTube on the Out of the Cinema review. But yeah, Search for SquarePants. Yeah, I mean, I've already said what I said. Oh yeah, the whole Ice Spice thing. I actually thought Ice Spice was part of the Spice Girls because, you know, Spice. But apparently she's a solo artist. But yeah, the whole big guy thing, I initially found quite annoying, especially when I watched the trailers. But over time, it was alright. The song only surprisingly played only twice. Once at the beginning of the film and once at the very end in the credits. But yeah, I mean, her whole character in the film, which is very small, she only played like a part in, I think it's in Glove World. It was one of the people on the ride, I think, that she played, like the person who lets people in on the ride. And, you know, she only had like a couple of lines, but, you know, the whole thing with that, I'm like, come on, you don't need a singer to do this. But so yeah, the SpongeBob movie, Search for SquarePants, is my number 3. Okay, coming in at number 2 is going to be the SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water. This is the second main SpongeBob film that came out in 2015, and this is an interesting one because obviously process of elimination, you know what my number 1 is at this point, and, you know, it's not a surprise. But this second film, it was interesting because it had both elements of 2D animation and CG 3D animation. I mean, I don't know if the 2D animation was CG or not, but it's still 2D and 3D animation together in one film. And I really liked the first half of this film, with the whole time travel thing of SpongeBob and Plankton. You know, SpongeBob working with Plankton to try and secure the secret formula. But obviously Plankton kind of lies to him and uses him as, you know, trying to help him try and find the formula. But obviously Plankton, of course, as always, wants to steal the secret formula for himself, but SpongeBob was obviously trying to get it back and, you know, give it back to Mr. Krabs. But, you know, the apocalypse happens in Bikini Bottom, and, you know, that whole thing is kind of interesting. Like, I found that really good. And then obviously 𝙁𝙗𝙗, Antonio Banderas' character comes in, and obviously he's at the beginning of the film, but again, the whole human aesthetic and everything, the real world, I'm like, I mean, it's certainly the least offensive of all the films, all the ones that have the real world stuff, but it's just not necessary. Like, all these animated films, obviously not just SpongeBob, I'm talking about all the other ones that include the real world, feel like they have to do it because it's relatable, or bringing these animated characters to the real world. What would it be like? I don't really care, to be honest. Maybe when I was younger I thought about it, but growing up I'm just like, I don't care. I like them where they are, include new storylines, but it is what it is. So but yeah, I do like Antonio Banderas, but I just didn't really care for him that much in the film. His fucking seagulls, the British singing seagulls, they're so jarring, annoying. I know they're kind of supposed to be, but for kids I'm sure they find them funny. But first of all, I fucking hate seagulls in general. When I fucking see one, I just want to shoot one. And it's like, I always love the scene in The Lighthouse with Robert Pattinson killing the seagull. Like, I know people are like, oh, it's animal abuse, and at this point I'm like, fuck it. Fucking seagulls, they shit on you, they steal your food. What good do they do, like, other than squawking at your ass? And then fucking having them in a SpongeBob film, it's just like, God's sake, fuck off. Anyway, sorry, I'm gonna shut up now about the seagulls, but I just hate the seagulls in this film. They're annoying, hate them already, in real life, in general. So yeah, fuck them. Yeah, the whole thing with Bubbles as well, the dolphin. I've forgotten the actor's name, the voice actor. The one that sounds like this, the British one, it's Mark something. I can't think of his last name, but the guy, he voiced Bubbles in this. He voiced the king of Atlantic City in SpongeBob on the Run, Sponge on the Run. I don't think he played a part in the new one. I don't think. No, he didn't. But that guy, Matt's something. He also voiced the villager in the Minecraft movie as well. But that guy, you know who I'm talking about. Yeah, even him, he's okay. He's the one that kind of shoots all the the main SpongeBob guys out of his blowhole to the surface to gain the secret formula, because obviously 𝙁𝙗𝙗 steals it from the whole. I don't know. I'm like, part of me likes it, part of me doesn't like the whole thing with 𝙁𝙗𝙗 and. I mean, I could do without the seagulls, of course, but, the thing, stealing the secret formula from the real world and be like, hey, give me back my formula. That kind of thing. I don't mind it. I mean, it's certainly, again, the most rewatchable film besides the first film. Of all the other sequels, this is the one I'll go back to the most out of them all. But, which is what's my number 2. But, yeah, I don't know. I have a bit of nostalgia for this one because I was 10 years old when it came out. But, yeah, I still have some issues with it regardless. But I can see people that grew up with it, love it, and I respect that, and that's fine. Among the other films, other than the fucking Sandy Cheeks one, which I think is just horrendous. But, yeah. That's it, guys. So, yeah, the SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water, is my number 2. And coming in at number 1, I mean, come on now. I mean, what else can be number 1 besides the SpongeBob SquarePants movie? I mean, first of all, I mean, as I said earlier at the beginning of the video, I mean, this is probably the one film that it was one of the animated films growing up that I just constantly kept rewatching over and over again, just because I just loved everything about it. Just loved looking at the film. I mean, again, I didn't really comprehend how films were made, but I just loved the characters. I just loved the story. I just loved everything about it, really. Like, I really don't have any negatives to really say about it, which is why I gave it a 10 out of 10. I mean, if I was a fan of animation in general, animated films, and I wasn't a SpongeBob fan growing up, and I'd watched it just the other day for the first time in preparation for the Search for SquarePants film, I'd probably give it at least a 7 out of 10, a 3.5 star review, at most a 4 maybe, a 4-star film, a 4-star review. But as I grew up with it and absolutely adored, watching it over and over again, it's a 5-star review, 5-star film, 10 out of 10, absolute cinema. But yeah, I mean, for people that know the film, we already know what's so good about it. I mean, just the characters, again, the characters, the utilization with, you know, SpongeBob and Patrick becoming men. Now that we're men, we can do anything, now that we're men. But yeah, that song, of course, the Goofy Goober song, I'm a Goofy Goober, yeah, the Goofy Goober rock song. Just so many, like, the songs that occur in these films, this is the one film that they get right with the songs. Like, it's not overbearing, it's perfect the way they're executed. Yeah, that's the songs. I don't know, I just love the arc with, you know, the fact that SpongeBob at the end gets his manager badge, he becomes manager of the Krusty Krab 2. That's just where it ends, and it's perfect. Like that's the universal ending. That to me and to many other SpongeBob fans do consider that to be the canon ending. But of course it isn't, because Nickelodeon decided to squeeze more shit out of it. Although, despite me kind of having a bit of a soft spot for some of the season 4, season 5, season 6 episodes, but I would rather end it here, and that's realistically and honestly, that's how I see it. This is the end of SpongeBob. First 3 seasons and the first film is where it ends. That's the main timeline of SpongeBob, at least I think. But yeah, the animation is just, it still holds up. I honestly think it's fantastic. It's just everything about it, just like nostalgia. I remember watching it the other day for in preparation for the new film. I was just so, I had a big smile on my face throughout the whole film. Like, you know, kind of singing along with the songs. You know, laughing at the jokes that occurred. None of them were cringe. Like, all of them landed. Like, they weren't these overbearing, cringy, cliche jokes, butt jokes. I mean, there were a few butt jokes in the film, like when Patrick obviously, you know, comes to the celebration in hopes to celebrate SpongeBob's promotion for being the manager. You know, on the thing, and then having a flag in his arse crack, like that kind of thing. That's there, but it's kind of subtle thing. Like, there's very few butt jokes in this film, which I appreciate. But obviously, Steven Hillenburg, God rest his soul, the creator of SpongeBob, directed this alongside, I think it's Mark Osborne, who did the live action sequences. Speaking of the live action sequences, as we're on it now, I didn't mind them too much. Like, again, the way they were utilized, got fucking David Hasselhoff, you know, saving the day, you know, getting SpongeBob and Patrick back to Bikini Bottom. The whole Dennis thing as well. Dennis, you know, Plankton sending Dennis the main, well, I say obviously, I mean, Plankton's the main antagonist, but Dennis is the one that follows SpongeBob and Patrick and stops them from getting to Shell City and getting King Neptune's crown, which is obviously the main story, is that King Neptune loses his crown, Plankton steals it, and obviously sells it to Shell City, but obviously he kind of sets up for Mr. Krabs, so that he can get the secret formula. That whole thing is kind of cool. I really do like it. I mean, I guess really like it's kind of an understatement, but yeah, I think the first SpongeBob movie is an absolute masterpiece in my eyes. I can see some people saying, what are you on about, you're on crack. But again, I grew up watching SpongeBob, absolutely loving this film. This is honestly the one that I can honestly really come back and rewatch and not have any problems with it. Like, the second film, again, I have a bit of nostalgia with, but with this one, the first film is just universally incredible. So, yeah. I love it. Yeah, I think that's it, guys. So, that's all 6 films ranked. So yeah, guys, that's my ranking of all 6 SpongeBob movies from worst to best, in my humble opinion. Let me know in the comments below how you would rank all these SpongeBob films from worst to best. Which ones mean the most to you? Yeah, and let me know how you'd rate them on a scale of 1 to 10, or stars if you want to. But yeah, also let me know, obviously, if you have grown up watching SpongeBob, what are your favourite episodes, maybe. I mean, it's still SpongeBob related. I know I'm talking about the films, but you can obviously talk about the show as you wish, like any moments in the show that you love the most. Anything like that, anything SpongeBob related would be great. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Yeah, it's been fun talking about this, even the ones that I fucking hate, but yeah, that's it, guys. I don't know what the next video will be. Again, maybe Anaconda, which is the film that maybe me, Dusty, may be coming back. So me, Dusty, Nerdtube might come and review that. Obviously, it's almost Christmas. Obviously, it's going to be busy with family and everything. Well, all three of us, our families are going to be all together, so we don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, it's coming out at the end of the year. Might be the last film we can squeeze into 2025, but you never know. Something could come up and we might not be able to do it. But yeah, depending what happens, I don't think I'm going to be making a video until after Christmas. So yeah, hope all you guys will have a really good Christmas, and I hope you are able to spend time with your family and even friends, maybe. But I wish you all a great Christmas and a happy New Year as well, if I don't end up recording a video before the New Year. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and probably see you in the next video. So yeah, bye bye.